So anyone who has been in the likes of the chat group, anyone who's been in the we're doing a competition for best trader, and it was for last month. So anyone who hasn't sent their details through to us, send it to TraderStream, contact@traderstream.co.uk. And then the winners, there's 2 winners, will get a coaching session with myself and a coaching session with Ben, just as a well done. Perfect. So we're going to have a look at some crypto. So as we know, we start off with crypto. Was there anyone on, is there another one this month? No, there's not another one this month. Was anyone on the Ruben's webinar last night? How did that go for you guys? So Ruben is a crypto trader that does some crypto trading for us and does crypto webinars. How was that last night? So anyone here that was on it? It was really good. Okay. We'll watch the replay. Okay, cool. So anyway, so I won't go in and tell you the ins and outs of all these and why they've taken off and what's the fundamentals behind it and all that crap. I won't tell you any of that shite. I'll just teach you how to trade it. Now, so we talked about this level here at the 42,500. So anyone who's been watching my webinars or been on the paid webinars, I've been saying to you guys, it will be very interesting to see what happens when it hits that 42,500 mark. And if we zoom out, here's where this mark is from. And obviously we can't see anything here back on the daily chart. We'll go back to the weekly. And friggin' eToro has no data. Okay, sorry. My bad. So we have that level there. So 1, 2, 3 touches. So that there for me is the big level. That one, this one here is a shorter term one. 1, 2, 3. So shorter term one, but it's broken. And so that for me was the big one. And look, it hit its head and rejected that straight away. Now, a lot of you guys are very educated in the trading world. Where do you think that'll come back to? Where's the logical place for this now to hit? It hit the 42,000. Where is the logical place for this now to hit? Where do you guys see this going? $35 or $36? Back to 30. Would like it to retest 30K. But the logical place for this to go is now back down to that floor. That's the logical place to go. Now, we know trading is not always logical. So there is a little small potential there. What's that at? That is at 36,100. Okay, so there is a little small area there that might bounce to the upside. But the logical place for this is to go back down to that 28,989 level. Now, what would stop it? Someone said wishful thinking. What would stop it going down that far? Billy, this is not wishful thinking. This is trading what you see, and that's the difference. When you're trading, you trade what you see. You don't trade what you hope is going to happen, and that's the next logical step for this. This is in a phase 2 now. So buyers, Elon, positive news. Okay, so the thing that will, all those things will drive it. Okay, but the big thing that will drive it is a company incorporating it. Okay, so that's 1. 2, Elon Musk tweeting. That's a second one. Okay, so what we have to do is make sure that if we're looking at the likes of this, that we have to make sure that we are trading it correctly. That you're not expecting it to bounce here. The expectation would be for it to hit this level. Now, if it bounces there and goes to the upside, absolutely brilliant, perfect. That's exactly what everyone wants. But the probability is telling me that this here seems to be that level between the 30,700 and the 28,000. Do people still trust Elon Musk tweets after all he's done? Absolutely, of course people do. Of course they do. Why? Because it's a signal. So everyone here trades. Okay, so everyone here trades. So if I go to you guys, I've just got a tip. I've just got an inside tip on a stock, and this is going to take off. It should do 100 to 200%. Now, how many of you guys would ask me for the tip? Just put Y or N in the chat box. So yes or no. So how many of you guys would actually ask me for the tip? I'm still waiting for a tip from you, Henry. Being patient. I have a couple of tips. Okay. 1, don't eat yellow snow. Okay, that's never good news. All right, so the problem is that everyone is always looking for a quick buck. Everyone's always looking for these quick bucks. Now, for instance, Cassie Wood came out and she was telling everyone that what friggin' stock was she telling everyone? It was the best thing since sliced bread. Oh, what was it? Someone helped me out. It was just telling everyone it was the best thing since sliced bread, and people started buying it. What did she do? She started selling the stock. She started liquidating her position. So that's the thing, is that they are playing manipulation games, or they're manipulating the market. Now, just because they have said, oh yeah, just for instance, Henry Ward stock is brilliant, I think you should all buy it. Absolutely, is the best thing since sliced bread. It is a really, really good fundamental stock. What she wants to do is she wants to create liquidity in the market so that she can unload her millions of stocks without the price massively dropping on her. And they do that all the time. Anyone who's ever read stock books, it does it all. Traders do it all the time. So don't always get caught up in stuff like that there. But sometimes they say something and then the mass public jump on it. And because there's so many people trading this market, the mass public then just take off. The stock takes off, or the cryptocurrency takes off. And that's what's going on here. That we have a market here that is massively driven by the likes of supply and demand. And if we get some good news on this could pop up to 50,000 in a matter of days if we get some really good news on this. Okay, so that's something we just have to wait. It could also pop back down to 28,000 as quick. So we just have to make sure that when we're trading, that we are getting in at the correct points, and then when we get in the correct points, we just hold. Just bear with me, I close the window. friggin' dogs outside barking. So that's what we're looking for. If we look at ADA, it hit that level, and then that's AMD, sorry. It hit that level as well at the ceiling. Come on, eToro charts. Okay, so I removed that level, need to put it back in. So we have this sideways movement, bouncing with these two levels. I'll actually bring that down. So there's where we were. And I actually have an order just above that. Horizontal, dash, change that to green. And I have an order just above that, and it still hasn't triggered in, which is massively annoying. Still hasn't triggered in, but we're bouncing between these two levels. Now we've had 2 selling days again here. This may pop up and hit the ceiling, but if it hits the ceiling, where would you expect this to go? Is there a bigger probability that it will break and retest? Or is a bigger probability if it hits there, it'll come back down here again? Which has the bigger probability? This is A, break and retest, and this is B. So we just make sure that we know, we're never 100% sure, but just make sure that you expect it to drop down. You're not expecting this now to be the next bull run. Okay, you're not expecting this to be the next bull run. The probability is hit there and then drop down again. Same as Bitcoin. How many times do we get false starts before it actually goes? Now, again, if it takes off, brilliant. Absolutely, we're laughing, but the demand is not quite there yet. It's only sort of trickling back into the market again, if that makes sense. People are waiting for that confirmation. And the confirmation for all the buyers to jump back in is when it breaks this level. Same with BTC. When it breaks that 42,500, that's the area. That's where we're looking to. That's what we're looking to get in. So MATIC is not as clean as the likes of ADA. It's come back down to this level. I would expect it to come back and hit this level again. But they're all showing these areas where we potentially want to buy. And if it comes back down to here, that's where we're looking to invest again. So Litecoin, it's had a little level here. It hit its head, come back down, hit its head, come back down. And the problem is that this is now sort of making lower lows. So it had a double bottom there. So we are sort of pinging between those two levels. So this one's a little bit harder to predict than the other ones. It had a really nice trend line. It broke out of that trend line. And now we have sort of bounce, touch there again. So we have 3 touches on the likes of that. But again, I'd expect it to come down and hit this 103 level. So make sure that you're buying it. If you're buying it and holding, you're buying it a little bit, a fraction above that. Okay. Does anyone want me to look at any other crypto before we move on? Anything in particular? Ether? Okay, Ethereum had a much better run than the rest of them. It actually broke that high, so it made a higher high, which is quite interesting. There seems to be a smaller level there at the top. So see this here, this double top here. So let's see what happens if it touches that level. Now the thing is with the likes of this one, This one has gone a little bit more than the others. So it seems to be a little more interest in this than the other particular ones. So will this come back and hit this level? Potentially. But again, that is a really, really good area. Did anyone buy that there as a CFD at that particular point? Well done, James. Well done. Wouldn't have bought it at 249. Wouldn't have bought it up there. Here and let it come back a bit. Remember, it's in this phase one. Wait for the phase two to happen before we're looking to buy. Potentially there would have been a level, the 2355. But yeah, oh, you bought it a while ago. Okay, fair enough. Let's have a look at this on the weekly. Are we at record highs, or is there anything back there? Nope, there's nothing back there again. Okay, so that seems to be that sort of little level there, and let it hit that and see what happens. But again, like the rest of the crypto, we've had 2 to 3 selling days on this. So I'd expect this to come down at least about 50%, if not the whole way back down to here. And that would be the biggest probability. But unlike the other ones, this has an awful lot more to go than the other ones. This one has run nicely. ENJ. Can't say I've ever seen it before. Horizontal. So right there. And we seem to have a little bit, I'm assuming there's nothing back there as well. No, nothing back there. And we seem to have a small little ceiling up here. Literally on that line. So again, I would expect that to potentially come back down to this level here again. So that seems to be the area where we want to be buying it. If we're looking to buy it around there, 0.78888, that's the area we seem to want to buy it. ALG. Similarly, we have, but see how similar they all are. They have this seed, this floor that they're bouncing off of. And if we get a bull run in the market, this is what we should be looking to do. Jump in on those levels. And then if we get a bull run, we are absolutely laughing. And that's what we're having on that particular one there. So we're looking to buy it here. Now, compared to the other ones, this looks like it may potentially break this. It looks like there's more momentum to the downside than the other ones. The other ones are actually at, a lot of the other cryptocurrencies are making higher highs, or they're hitting the same high, whereas this hasn't come and hit this high. So it's now broken, and this probably has a little more to the downside. Dodge. So Dodge again, we have this floor, and I'd expect it to hit this floor. I don't see any reason why it won't hit that floor. And if it hits that floor, then it's potential buy up against it with 1, 2, 3 touches, and this is the 4th touch. But similar to the last one, the structure of this is getting smaller, it's getting lower. So if we did buy it there, there's a high probability that it will actually make a lower low. But again, it comes back to whether there's enough demand in the market for the likes of these jumping to the upside. AMD. So AMD is one of these stocks that they generally have a sideways market and then they jump out of it. Look, they had a sideways market here, jumped out, sideways market here, jumped out. And what they will probably do again is at a higher rate, have a sideways market and then jump out. So make sure you're trying to trade these rails and getting in at the bottom of them. So anyone who jumped in anywhere along this level here at $74, well done, really, really good trade. At the minute, I'm up 42%. So we have a little bit of a run on this at the present moment. Time will tell and see how far this will go. I'm going to move this up now, up to that high, because it's now broken. So 1, 2 touches. So the ideal scenario on this would be for this to come back into this area. Come back into this area. And if it comes back into that area, then it's a potential buy. Now, just say it come back into that area. Would we be looking to buy this as a CFD or an underlying asset? Also, we've mixed reviews on which one it would be. But see, the thing about it is that we've had a sideways movement. We've had this breakout. It's come back in this area. I would always take that as a CFD at that particular point. Why? Because I already have one investment here. I already have one investment here open at $76. I always have one investment here already as the underlying asset. So for me, then that would be a CFD. That would be a CFD. So the idea would be is that if it pulls back into there, it's bounced up this horizontal level, retesting this high, and then momentum, hopefully momentum will continue growing. But what I don't want as a CFD, I don't want to see it bouncing along here in these levels, because the idea, if I had my stop loss was there, I would have got stopped out here. Okay, so that's not something that I wanted. Now, yes, I would have hit my 3-to-1 up here at that particular point, almost got stopped out here or very, very close to it, depending on how close or how far your stop loss is. So again, with a break and retest and that, I'll be looking for that to come back into that area. AHT. So this is something that we've talked about a couple of times. It is now sort of come back into this area. So bounce, 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 bounce. So is that a trade there? And would we be looking at this as an underlying asset or a CFD? So some people have said yes, some people have said no. Some people said it's not a trade yet, it's in a phase 2, but that's when we get into trades. In the phase 2, we're anticipating, bring it up a fraction, I want a little bit higher, say there. Okay. Five, 3, 7, 4. Stop loss 5243. Leverage X5. Reduce this down to 1% of my account. Take profit amount 3K or 300. Override fee is 69p or £2.70 over the weekend, or £2.07 over the weekend. Set the order. So for me, this is a decent trade. So we have a trend line along here. We have the previous support and resistance here. We have higher high. It's come back down, hit this level. For me, this looks like a decent trade. Now, the only thing else we have to make sure is, if we're looking to trade this, is make sure that the news, making sure that the earnings, so when is the earnings? Does anyone know when the earnings is, or has the earnings already come out? Okay, so that's something we need to check, because that will affect our CFD trade. That will affect our CFD trade. So if the earnings is coming out in the next day or two, we have to then look into it. Is the earnings better than expected? And then we have to make a decision. What's the chances of this spiking up and then spiking down and then going? So we have to make sure that that's going on. All right. So the news already came out on the 14th of June and it was better than expected. Okay, cool. So the next one is the 15th of September. So then we have nothing in the way then. So for me, this is a trade. This is something I've placed, and that is something that will go on the Discord channel very, very shortly. And for anyone, why I've taken this trade is trending. Come back to this support level. Let's come back to this support level. Trending, cyclicity, highs are getting higher, the lows are getting higher. Do I count this as a low? No, this is all still part of that original phase 1 here. So this low is higher than this one. Okay. And then this low is higher. So these lows are getting higher. So there's a low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Now remember, anyone who is taking this trade, you trade at your own risk. Trades go up and down. This is all for educational purpose only. This is a trade that I am taking myself. If you lose this trade, it means then that you only have a risk 1% of your account. So as you can see, I have 24 grand in here. I risked 100 quid on this trade. So it's not something that I am going to over risk on a particular trade. And where else were we? Someone else asked for something else. Yes, copper. So copper is massively annoying. Copper is massively annoying. It's now come back into this little area here. So we're now back here at this little area, there. And let's see if it bounces tomorrow. At the moment, we are just over 0.5% up on this. We were 2.1 at one stage up on this. So this trade is still, I'm still leaving it opened. It's still going to run. So it's not something that I am jumping out. The only way I'm jumping out on this is if I get stopped out. That's the only way I'm jumping out on the likes of this. Let's see if it runs. Still expect it to run, but it's not running as nicely as it has previously. So let's see what happens on tomorrow's bar. I would expect some sort of pump to the upside tomorrow with what's going on in the market. But again, time will tell with this. But it's massively annoying. LOGI. Eugene, which of these you want me to look at? Eugene, are you there? Logitech. Okay. Yep, I'll look at PayPal now in a second. Okay, so we wanted it to break and retest. Okay, so just to ask you the question, guys. So it is broken and retested here. So I wanted to break and retest. Okay, so we're talking hypotheticals here now. Would this have been a trade there? I know you all have seen what happens next, but I'm just imagine you have no idea what's happening next. Would this have been a trade? The overall trend is going up. It hit its ceiling once, came down, hit the ceiling twice, came down, it broke and then retested. Entry there, stop loss there. Would this have been a trade? Absolutely not for me. I actually missed what happened. So then you can give an answer to this. So yes or no, guys, what would you have taken that as a trade there? So not a CFD for me because of the change of structure. It's a lower high preceding it, but I probably would have taken it. So it's a clear break and retest. Yes, but we also have this. We also have this happening here. And for that reason, I wouldn't have taken that trade. I know this is hindsight trading and it's very easy. It's very easy to say that. Very easy to say that. But I wouldn't have taken that trade off that horizontal because of that. Because that's a clear phase one, and then it failed. It's a clear phase one here and it failed because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars getting higher. This is not a little, it's not one of these ones. This is just a sideways movement. That is all part of that phase 2 to the downside. And look, this is the phase 1. So these phase 1s should be longer. And it is epically failed. And then come back down to this area. So that's not something that I would have taken. And look what happened. It came back down to there. So this one for me is off the list. This is not something that I would be looking at. Now, you will have some people will say, well, Henry, there's a trend line there. But no, this is not something that I would trust. And in trading, you have to trust your judgment, and that one there was not for me. Okay, so that's not something I am looking at. So on to PayPal. So I placed an order on PayPal. So the order I placed on PayPal was, so I wanted PayPal to come back to this level. And that's exactly what happened. It come back to this level. So my order on PayPal was entry here. Stop loss here, just below that, CFD trade. What happened is we had 2 touches. It is now retested. So what some people have done is updated the trade. So if you place the trade here, so this is a ring low. So bar A, bar B, and then we're looking for bar C to kick up to the upside. Then eventually, we have a lower low. So then this is bar A, this is bar B, and we're looking for bar C to kick to the upside. So now we have another ring low, bar A, bar B, and we're looking for C to kick up to the upside. So is this trade valid? Is this a valid trade? Yay or nay? Yes or no? And if yes, why? If no, why? So someone said there's a trend line there. Okay, cool. Let's have a look. Is that the one you're talking about? Bounce, bounce, bounce. So there. Okay, so then this is not a trade because it still hasn't hit that. You want this to come down. You want another bar come down. So the question was, is that a trade? Also, is that trend line a good trend line? Is that a good trend line? Yeah, but if it comes down here one more, it'll have 3 touches. It'll have 1, 2, and then the third one here. So for me, it's no. Even if it did come back down and drop there, for me, it's not good enough. It's not something that I would be personally looking to trade off of. There is a potential one here, but again, it is not filling me with joy. 1, 2, 3 touches. The next, after breaking this, the next entry for me after breaking this, so this is not a trade. My next entry on this will be there. Okay, so the idea here is instead of trying to find and catch this falling knife in this middle area here, I'm resisting all the likes of the temptations here because I could be triggered in and triggered out, which means then I have a losing trade on my P&L. So the idea is to let the trade do what it's going to do on the way down. And if it hits this level, then I'll be happy to take a trade. 1, 2, 3 touches, that'll be the fourth. I'll be absolutely more than happy to take that as a buy signal right there. But anywhere below this line, I am not. I just don't have the confidence in it. Even though we have the trend line here, even though we have this soft horizontal, this is not a technical setup for me. Now, if this turns, perfect, brilliant. I'm happy to sit through it. I want to see it making a higher high and then come back down into one of these levels. Or come back to that one. That would be a brilliant area there, that double top. That would be the ideal scenario there, break and retest that. So I wanted to go up, break, and then retest, and that would be my next entry. All right, so that's the idea behind the likes of these. But in this no man's land, this is not a trade. There's no real technical analysis there for us. If you grab it here and it turns, look, for me, it doesn't meet my rules, so it's not a trade for me. But if it turns, then brilliant. Well done. Pinterest. Okay, so Pinterest has had a big gap down. So Pinterest has had a big gap down. Am I correct in saying it has brought in more revenue than it has ever had in any of the quarters? But the US user rate or activity has dropped, and its biggest revenue is from the US user base. And that's the reason for this drop. So if memory serves me right, so if that serves me right, that's what's after happening here. So to put it into perspective, I think in the US, each individual user, it's about £1.60 they spend or something like that. And in Europe, they spend about 21p, okay, every user. So that's the reasoning for this to drop. So if Pinterest can get the European users to actually spend more money on advertisements, stuff like that, then sky's the limit for this. So sky's the limit for this. But again, that's the reason behind it. So I'm up 200% on my investments. Do I jump out of it? Do I hold it? For me, I'm just going to sit and hold this. Just sit and hold this. I think there's still loads of room for this to grow. I think the potential for them to start monetizing is exponential. So for me, I'm just going to sit on this and let it play out. Would I be investing right now in Pinterest? Probably not. Probably not. Is it advisable to buy some more? But it depends on what your long-term outlook is. Do you think this is going to be the bottom? Do you think this is the bottom? So we have that floor there. I now have to put another one in it because it's broken that. So do you think that this here now is going to be the floor? Fiddlesticks. Do you think that's going to be now the new floor? And then it's going to turn. If you expect that that's going to be the floor and it's going to turn, then yes, buy some more. But it then comes down to, do you think it's going to continue dropping, or is it going to bounce between the ceiling here and this, the $53 and the $90? But this would be a trade as an underlying asset. This would not be under any circumstances a CFD trade. Do not buy this as a CFD at all. So something similar to Netflix, absolutely. Netflix. Again, Netflix as has this sort of a wedge shape pattern going on. And it's sort of just bouncing between those levels there. The same as Netflix. Netflix earnings were good, but their users have sort of dropped down as well. So yeah, totally, it's the same as Pinterest. And this is where the pandemic is dropped. So similar to Clorox. So Clorox is the same, and their earnings dropped massively. Okay, through the pandemic, it soared, and it has dropped massively since their earnings. So their full physical year finished, I think it was today, and they are down. They're down massively on the likes of this. So Clorox is the domestic killer of germs. Okay. So that's massively dropped down as well. Okay. So something I want to talk to you guys about is, so henry-ward.co.uk. All right. So some of you guys will know, some of you will not. I have launched my free course. Now, it is a free course, so you have your logins, so here's what the course gives you. So it's a free course, so anyone who is interested in the course, just jump in on board. If you have any friends or family who want to learn how to trade, this is a free course. There's an awful lot of content in it, and we'll get you on board. Just log in. Log in. And it's all here. Okay, so expand, and I have the course completed. Welcome to the course. And it gives you an introduction on what's going on here in the course. There's your trading account. If you want to click on it, open it up, and then you just click on next lesson. So there are 12 modules here. There's talking to you about the best broker. If we go on here into this one, there's 6 topics. And the topics are the market, indices, stock market, fractional shares, cryptocurrencies, and ETF. If we go into the next module, there's two topics. We have derivative, and we have underlying assets, and then we have types of traders, and then you have a quiz. So it's testing you to make sure that you know what you're talking about. Then the next modules are pips, spread, price action, and buying and selling. Next module is trend, cyclicity, higher highs and higher lows, uptrend, downtrend, and trend lines. So a lot of you guys know this already, but for the guys here who are new, who have never done a course before, who have no understanding of how I actually trade and these webinars, just jump in on it. Then we have moving averages and EMAs. There's another test. Then we have support and resistance, hard and soft levels, markets at all-time highs. So that's how I trade. This section here is how I trade. This is what I do. This is how I trade. So anyone who's ever struggling, if you watch the beginning and look at cyclicity. So here's cyclicity, this one. So this is the set you up for the beginner. And then this is the more advanced part of it. So support and resistance. So there's how I trade. I use both of those. Margin and leverage. So people generally struggle with that. So that's there. Okay, risk management. And then trades. Underlying asset trades, derivative trades using the web trader, or a derivative trade using MT4. So it's all there for you guys. You just jump onto it. Technical versus fundamentals, and then trading plan. Now, what I've done for most people is once you have completed the course, there is a 1 hour coaching session that is available with me for anyone who finishes the course. Do you get a certificate? We're in the process of getting that set up there. So yes, there will be a certificate. And we'll be putting it up on there, so you can just download a certificate if you want. But again, Gary, a certificate is about it's not worth the paper it's printed on, is it? Because you can just go online and make up your own certificate if you want. But yes, it is there for you if you want it. So just get involved. And that is something that Rishi will be working on and getting set up shortly. But that's not the most important stuff, but it will be up there, say in the next couple of weeks. And then once that's finished, you then have the one-on-one with me, and then we can go through what sort of training plan you want, how you want to get to the next level, so on and so forth. Okay, whether it's you want to jump on the boot camp, whether you're happy just testing out what you've done, I'll show you how to test it out properly, and then go from there. All right, everyone. And make sure if there's anyone who wants to learn the trade and they have no idea, just copy and paste and send it over. It's a free course. Put it out to as many frigging people as you can. And remember, I also have an affiliate thing. So if you sell something, so likes of joining my webinars, which are 47 quid a month, if you send that to someone, you get paid every time they stay, every month that they stay. So there is an affiliate program. If anyone wants to sign up to affiliate program and actually push any of this stuff, you're more than welcome. And it means then that you get paid every time they stay or they pay me. So it's not a one-off payment. You get a payment every single month that they stay with me. Okay, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. And looking forward to seeing you in on the courses and then on the one-to-one sessions. So there is only one session per person, because unfortunately this is huge. There's going to be an awful lot of uptake on this. So look, everyone, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. And if you think the course is good, don't be afraid to leave me a Trustpilot review. If it's good. If you think it's shit, please don't leave a Trustpilot review. If it's shit, come and say to me. But again, also, if you think there's something there that I've missed, please say it. Because I will be looking to do an advanced course as well. And then you guys can jump in on that as well. All right. Pleasure, everyone. Thank you very much. Hope you have a lovely evening. And I will speak to you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.